Hi, I'm Ashley DeLatour, staff member at Futures Northwest, and to my side here I have
Christina Winstead from the Washington Student Achievement Council.
Yay! And today we're going to be talking to caregivers about scholarships. Now, if you're a student and you want to listen in, go for it. We welcome you. But we're going to be specifically addressing caregivers and the ways that you can support your students. Okay, let's take it away.
So scholarships is one of my favorite topics because this is a great way to pay for your education. When we talk about financial aid, and there's some other videos you can watch about financial aid is a big puzzle. One of those pieces of that puzzle is going to be scholarships that your student will be applying for. So today we're going to learn about scholarships, what they are, when students should apply for them, where to find them. And so I always tell students it's the amazing scholarships and where to find them. There's so many different places we're going to talk about where your student can find scholarships. And then how to apply for those scholarships themselves, and of course some help and resources. So scholarships, they are funds from organizations that help students pay for college. And so we consider these to be gift aid that you do not have to pay back. And they can be based on a multitude of things. It can be on your students' academic merit, their talent, or even if they're just going into a specific field of learning. So a STEM scholarship for science, technology, engineering, and math. There's all these different scholarships out there. I hear a lot of misconceptions about scholarships. One of the biggest misconceptions is my student has to be straight A student to get scholarships. And I'm here to tell you, as someone who was not a straight A student, but paid for a lot of my education through scholarships, there's a lot out there to help you and your students.
Yes.
So scholarships are offered year round. There are scholarships right now if you go online any time of the year that are going to be open and available for students. But there are certain times of the year, we kind of call them scholarship cycles, where there are more scholarships available than not. And usually that's in the late fall when you're preparing to apply to certain schools. There might be foundational scholarships that are available. And then late winter and early spring is a huge time for scholarships.
Yeah.
I encourage you, no matter when your students apply for scholarships, they should really start making a spreadsheet, a list of all the different scholarships that are out there and when they're due. This will help you and your students stay on the same timeline when it comes to scholarships, and you can support them in the application process.
Mm-hmm.
So where to find them? You can find them at thewashboard.org, which we'll talk more about shortly here. Our Gear Up website, even if your student is not at a Gear Up school, all of that information is for any student out there. So I encourage you, you can look on the Gear Up website. Futures Northwest has scholarships on their website. Unigo, there's a lot of different sites that you can go to. The biggest things to remember are scholarships are free. You should never pay to apply for a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
If someone's asking you for money to pay to apply for a scholarship, it is most likely a scam. And I encourage you, if you are being charged to apply for financial aid or you're being charged to apply for scholarships, that's kind of a red flag. I encourage you to reach out to one of us so we can make sure you're on the right website.
Mm-hmm. And also, if someone is promising to apply to scholarships for you for a fee, also a no-go. Don't do it.
No, these are all free applications to help you fund your education. If someone's asking you to pay money, it is not free. I am the most frugal woman in Thurston County, maybe even the west side of the state. And so I'll take challenges on that. I want to make sure that your students are finding these funds without having to pay money for someone to hunt them down. It is free process for students to apply for financial aid and for scholarships.
Another great thing to take note of is to start at your local high school, to start on that scholarship page. It's usually where the counselors post their information. If you go on there, find all your scholarships that you can apply for there, start there, and then look at your neighboring high schools as well, because there's not a uniform way that counselors receive scholarship information. So one high school might feature this local scholarship, and then another high school might feature another. So I encourage you to check those all out. We have for Whatcom and Skagit County on our website, we have listed all of the different counseling pages, so you can just bounce from site to site.
That's the best way to do it, is like if they've already created lists for you for your region specific, start with your career counselor, start with your school itself, and then look at the other schools in your district. There's a lot of scholarships out there that go unawarded. That means that people have said, I have money to give to students and no one's applied for it. So I encourage you, be the student, if you're a student, you're applying, be the student that applies. You won't get every single scholarship, but you're going to get some of them.
Yep.
And so it's just about making sure that you are the person who applies for these.
Mm-hmm.
So another website that'll help you is the washboard.org. This is a state warehouse of scholarships that have been vetted. So we know that the scholarships in this website, they have made sure that they are not scams. They are actual scholarships. They're not going to ask you to pay to apply for them. And you
Mhm.
can build a profile as a student. So even if you as a caregiver are thinking of going back to college, you can apply for scholarships too. There's a lot of scholarships for caregivers as well as for students coming out of high school. So that's a misconception, is that, oh, you have to be coming out of high school. No, there are scholarships for so many different students out there. But this will help you because you build a profile and it matches you to the scholarship. So your student can build a profile and then see what's out there available to them specifically based upon their interests, the programs they want to go into, professional organizations, their GPA. It kind of calculates then these are the ones that are available to you.
Mhm.
So it's pretty simple to apply for scholarships. There are going to be different requirements for different scholarships, but your first step is really to search, see what's out there, see what's available. You might find some that, like, when you're reading it, you're like, oh my gosh, this speaks to my student so much.
Mhm.
I have to let them know about this. And then applying for scholarships. So you're going to search, then you're going to do some organizing, and then your student's going to be applying for scholarships. And this is where they're really going to need your help. They
Yeah.
might have to write an essay about themselves.
Yeah.
This is a great time to think about all your students' strengths. And if they're being reflected in that essay, students may not see their strengths that they have. And sometimes they won't even see them as strengths until someone identifies them. So helping them with their essays is really important, as well as their resume of activities. They may forget about things they did freshman year because it was so long ago. To be perfectly honest, it was probably a long time ago, but maybe they volunteered somewhere, had some sort of alternative experience when it came to learning, and that's what they're going to write their essay about.
Yeah.
After they apply for scholarships, they're going to want to follow up and accept those scholarships that they've been offered. But they
Mhm.
also want to follow up with a thank you card. I highly encourage a thank you card to the committee that's offering them those funds
Mhm.
as a great way to show their appreciation.
Also, pay attention to the terms of the scholarship as well. So if it means that you have to keep a certain GPA, you just want to note that
Hmm.
that you need to do and follow through with that sort of stuff, because you certainly don't want to lose a scholarship once you have it. So pay attention to those
Definitely.
conditions. And also, if you have like a template essay that you can develop that is like more of a generic story about yourself, like that you can then specifically tailor to a specific question on a different scholarship application, I highly recommend helping your student craft that generic essay that can be adapted and just submitted. It's a numbers game, folks. Like, the more you apply, the more you will be awarded. So I highly encourage that template essay and then the adjusting.
Definitely, if you can get a template. So for me personally, what was very helpful is we'd have scholarship pizza nights. So if one parent can pony up for pizza and your student invites a couple of their friends over, they can actually read each other's essays and add to them. So your student may not even humble brag, but their friends will brag about them. And so sometimes it's great for a student to say, hey, but don't you remember we did this activity with Key Club and we did this really cool, it was a volunteer activity. Why don't you have that on your volunteer? Or, oh, you're working. You got to make sure you remind them to, put in work information.
You
But
feel
their
like you're
friends will help
you're a
them.
caregiver in your family as a student, like you watch your younger brother or sister. That's something to put down. That shows
Yeah.
leadership. That shows dedication and responsibility. Like, that's huge. Yeah, so don't
So
forget those little things that seem like just normal life, but they're actually really, really great indicators of the type of person that you are and the types of responsibility and leadership qualities that you have.
yeah, if you can create that space within your home, if applicable right now, or, maybe it's that they go out and get pizza. But I found that pizza and scholarships, food makes the scholarships go down.
Yep,
Just a
yep,
spoonful of sugar or
yes,
half a pizza.
yes.
But I found that to be the funnest way for me to do. And I did scholarship applications every other weekend throughout college. So it's an ongoing process. It's not
Yeah.
a one and done where like, oh, I got a scholarship. There's so many other scholarships that could be out there.
Mhm.
So maybe you've got one that covers tuition and fees, but you need to pay for room and board. Then
Yeah.
it's time to start looking at scholarships that are meant for room and board for your student to apply to.
Another good point is, like, once you get into your institution, check out institutional scholarships, those that are available through the college or training facility that you're at. Like, look at what they offer as well. See if it's an opt-in or opt-out system. Some colleges, they're like, oh, you're just put into all of the scholarships. You don't have to apply. And then others are like, no, you gotta like put your name on this so we know that you want it. So definitely check into that as well.
Yeah, foundation scholarships are a great way to get started in the scholarship process. If you don't know where to start, check the school's website. Check your local bank and organizations, different community organizations, and usually your school will have access to those. But the big one is the foundations for the colleges that your student's going to attend. I'd have them apply for foundation scholarships, and these are available at the community colleges as well as the universities.
Yep.
So most of the scholarship applications are available online. This is a big change from back in the day when you'd have to pull the file out, make a copy of the file. Remember that? The going through 100 files to find 3 scholarships that may qualify, for. This is easier because students can determine in an assessment the criteria for the scholarships, and it'll tell them which ones they qualify for. So most of this is online. Again, it's free. This is all free. I'd hate to hear that you paid money to apply for a scholarship. It's just not how that works. And so we know that it's expensive to go to school, and every little bit adds up to help pay for college. So a scholarship may not cover every single thing, but maybe it's going to cover books for this quarter. Everything that you get in a scholarship is money you're not going to have to earn to pay off either a future loan or have to work maybe as hard during school. Students need to follow the instructions. So I know as a caregiver, you may be very tempted to fill these out for your student, which I know it's very hard to not want to do that, but you're going to have to let your students do these. We want to make sure that they're good advocates for themselves. It's good for them to understand this process so they can do it when they're in college, but they'll definitely need your support. Students are going to have to follow the instructions. They're going to make sure they meet those minimum criteria. It'd be, your student can write the best essay I've ever seen. But if they're not old enough for the scholarship or not going to the right program, it's not going to provide them the funds they need. Have your students start applying for those foundation scholarships as early as possible. There's so much funding that comes out of foundation scholarships, and they might get caught with the scholarship bug where all of a sudden they get one scholarship and now they want to apply for a bunch. And then, of course, the first place to start is your high school counselor. Your schools have amazing websites of resources when it comes to scholarships. Oh my goodness. And they may know if a scholarship's going to go awarded or unawarded. Maybe they know that, hey, there's a scholarship. This used to happen to me when I was working with students. I would be informed, hey, a scholarship's in danger of being unawarded. Can you get some people to apply for this? If someone is hounding you to apply for a scholarship, there's a reason. They're not doing it because that's the funnest thing to do at the moment. They're doing it because they see you potentially receiving these funds and being able to receive them so that you can meet your post-secondary goals. Maybe the counselors are reaching out to you as a caregiver. If they are telling you about specific ones, definitely apply for those specific scholarships.
Yeah.
It's because they see your student potentially receiving those funds. So there are some resources with scholarships. I know it can be scary to fill out your first one. If you want to know what it looks like to fill out a scholarship and even rank a scholarship, you can go to our Gear Up website, and it's just gearup.wa.gov. They actually have a scholarship that's a legitimate scholarship that is called, it's the Zombie Apocalypse Scholarship. It is an actual scholarship people can get money for, but we have written very amazing and very horrible essays applying for that scholarship. And so you get to read the essays, and then you can rank them like they do in a scholarship committee through a rubric. So you can actually rank the scholarship essays and see which ones you would have given the funds to, and it helps you understand what people are looking for in a scholarship. There's also a list of scholarship websites. Get Schooled will do free essay reviews for your student virtually. So that's another resource if you want someone else to read your student's essay. But I think it's important for caregivers to read their students' essays as well, because you know your student's voice and you want to make sure that they can be heard within that essay.
Absolutely.
And then Ashley, do you want to talk about Future Northwest's amazing resources?
Thank you so much. Yes. So we have a bunch of scholarships, scholarships, FAFSA, WASFA, all on one page. So what you're going to want to do is the first section is scholarships. So if that's what you're looking for, it's easy to get there. It's right there. We start with everything in alphabetical order, and then we go to specific identity scholarships as well as high school counseling websites. So the first ones are all going to be linked to specific sites that house a lot of scholarships. So we're not posting individual scholarships on our website for you to apply to. We're connecting you to like giant nexuses of information that have loads of scholarships. So go through that alphabetically. There are tons of scholarships on there for undocumented families, like amazing resources for Native and Indigenous families. We have an LGBTQIA plus category as well on there. So if you're struggling with finding like, where are my big like sites that have lots of scholarships that like specifically connect with my identity, I highly recommend it. If you see something that we don't have there, let me know, and I'd love to put it up there.
And that's all we have for scholarships today. I encourage you, be the student that applies. Help your students as caregivers access and navigate these scholarships. They really can change a student's trajectory. For me personally, when I received scholarships, it wasn't just about the money. It was about someone saying, hey, you know what? We believe in you enough to give you money to go to school. Someone is actually putting their mouth where their money is and saying that you can do this. And so it was so helpful. Also, some scholarships will connect your student to different cohorts. So they'll have classmates from that same scholarship pool, and they may have access to different internship opportunities, or even just knowing that their peer group going into a program that they're interested in. So there's a lot of benefits to scholarships beyond the funding component.
Also, as a final note, one of the reasons why scholarships are so important is that if you take out loans and you find yourself in a tricky position at some point in your life, you cannot file bankruptcy for those loans that you take out as student loans. So it's just one of those things where it doesn't seem like maybe a big deal at the time to take out that loan here and there, but we're not fortune tellers. Otherwise we would be in a different business, you know, like we don't know what the future has. So like I highly encourage you, scholarships are a numbers game. It's quantity. Apply to a bunch, make that template essay, and just have that schedule. And if you're a caregiver and you're highly organized and you can like matrix that situation, please do. Like you can teach your student how to like develop that type of organizational system. And if you need help with something like that, please reach out to us. We have an amazing intern staff team that like want to help you so bad. Like seriously, if you want your essay reviewed, we're happy to do that. If you would like pointers on what scholarships to apply to, we're happy to do that as well. If you have any other questions, again, we're happy to help. I hope that's very clear. And thank you so much for watching this awesome video and for, you know, investing in your student. And all of these systems are really tricky. They are tough to navigate, and we applaud you. We're cheering you on. Like this is not easy, and you're doing it. And yeah, if you would like more information and helpful tips, please look in the show description notes. We'll post links to everything there, and we hope that you found this helpful. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you.